The second half of the Face It playoffs to determine which teams qualify to the Esports World Cup is finished. Not even the Season 11 patch making it so teams had 24 hours to prepare for Sojourn switching weapons to a nerf long strike CS6 could stop the matches from being so hyped that the Overwatch Esports Twitter broke their NDA and started retweeting some of the action. This video is all EMEA, where there were two important things going on. First, there were 2 EWC slots left with 3 teams fighting for them: Quick Esports, Virtus Pro, and Twisted Minds. Then second, and much more importantly, GG PEPS were on a mission to defend their self-proclaimed title of best in the West. And don't worry about the lesser region, it'll get its own video within the week. With that out of the way, let's get into the best and worst plays of the EMEA Esports World Cup Qualifier Playoff second half. The first team to secure their spot was decided by TM vs VP, where Quartz was taking the Soj nerfs relatively well and obliterating all the hype VP generated from their 5-map banger against ENCE the week before. However, bro still thinks he can lobby admin the same way he did with the get out of jail free slide, and low-key, with mechanics like this, he still kinda can. Like right here, TM are going for the Eichenwald second spawn hold, and bro is straight chillin' on first. But then he pulls up with plays like these, and I start to think that the Sojourn changes plus years of UB abuse has taken its toll. I do not care how mechanically gifted you are, not even Prime Carpe in a contract year with 200 milligrams of Adderall is getting out of here alive. The funniest part about the Ike spawn hold was Virtus trying to spin back and show him how it's done, only for TM to walk in a straight line to point like their Geo Wizard, then have Kellan hit the no-look shatter to seal the deal. You are an EMEA team getting tossed around by a Reinhardt whose most prolific owl play is whiffing a shatter. In the end, the dive was just too large of a stylistic advantage for VP's slow double flex preference, even with TM's internal organization sounding like a Modern Warfare 2 lobby. This conflict seems to have infiltrated the player's gameplay as well, because Kellan turned into a UAV. My guy is the eye in the sky, watching the enemy's every move. He has not interacted with them in any meaningful way. There is no engagement, there is no disruption. It's like he gave his little brother the control so he wouldn't get AFK kicked as he went to pick up his DoorDash. By the time he got back behind the wheel, he had a blood alcohol level of 0.25% and realized he had to make a play. So he goes for the left side grapple to mislead the opposition, only to come right and hit a slam on the back line, and he C9'd. Now, this might be where you think the spawn hold begins, and I get it, they were still even in numbers, the fight was still winnable, but Kellan has other ideas and rolls all the way back to spawn to make the very important switch over to Winston. I get it though, before taking another fight on that character, he wanted to VOD review it, so in their next game against SSG, he made some adjustments. See, the error was that he was mimicking a UAV, when he should have been festive and inspired joy while emulating a Christmas ornament to better hide in plain sight. He starts off by hitting a massive slam at the choke just to let Hottie know that he stands 0 chance in the matchup against a Korean tier tank. Next, he keeps SSG on edge by living in their spawn ready to strike at any moment. The idea being that they're too paranoid to have their Maga run straight onto the backline for free. Unfortunately, SSG didn't fully understand what they were up against and made the foolish error of allowing Kellan to once again roll all the way back to spawn and switch over to Winston. Now you might be thinking, damn, don't let this guy near Wrecking Wheel ever again. But the players themselves have a much better idea. Get this guy off the team. They're sitting here watching him explore the castle like he's playing an escape room flash game. They had this guy on payroll trying to hide from window behind a tree. Do you know how fucked up you gotta be to hit the shack in an official? You know, they might have told Kellan what was happening before the tournament even ended, because I'm starting to think that drunk driving wasn't a Wrecking Ball exclusive event. I'm surprised Yubi had the willpower to stay on the map after seeing his tank pull out these plays in map 1. We've seen him hop off the map for much less before, like on map 2 where his backline dies and he instantly decides, I don't want to do this no more. Quartz is out here fighting for his life while Yubi's trying to end the tournament so Kellan is gone as soon as possible. From what I've said so far, you might think this was a complete roll from SSG, but it actually wasn't, at least not at the start. There was a point where it looked like TM were gonna take map 1 and Yubi even called the C9 before it happened. But shit-talking SSG never ends well. Funny Astro locked in and rolled out with a determination rivaling the no-poop July guy. Off this touch, Landon was able to pull up, drop the window, and let him and Sparker get to business. If calling the game early only to get immediately bodied harder than a first-time Elden Ring playthrough didn't ruin their already crumpled mental, what happens next definitely did. It's their turn to keep the round going, and Quartz makes sure to trigger overtime because it'd be quite embarrassing if he didn't. Now he needs to touch again, and he's fumbled it. In that split second, he knew he fucked up and turned 180 degrees away so he would not have to look at it. It's honestly impressive how almost every TM player had a wild misplay in this match. You can't convince me that Vigilante doesn't look like a lost kid at a Walmart supercenter in this room. The only player who was fully there was Crispy. He had a really solid game and made the sick play to deny Funny Astro's beat. He played so well that he was rewarded by being replaced with Bliss now that an import slot has been freed up. All things considered, this was a pretty successful week compared to the first half of these qualifiers for Twisted Minds. I mean, there's only so much you can do against the CEO of Baptiste when Christopher lets him take the Kiriko training weights off. They have bro breaking wall all by himself, tossing Lamp to the critical high noon, keeping Hottie up on the Rhine because he's on that character now I guess, winning a duel against God himself according to Saudi Dick Riders, and still keeping Hottie up on Rhine. While he's at it, he may as well offload the dishwasher, do SSG's taxes, and book everyone's flight to Riyadh. When TM finally respected the threat, it was too late. And I know I just gassed Crispy a second ago, but to be real, the backline gap was too much. How was anyone in the Western world expected to compete with Funny Astro and Landon? Astro has unlocked the forbidden technique of speed boosting the push bot to gain extra ground. This is something not even CarQ tips and tricks can tell you. Now going back to Virtus Pro briefly, where they squared off against Quick Esports in the tiebreaker match to decide the final EMEA team to go to the Esports World Cup. Quick of course got brutalized by SSG and losers, and it was much of the same against VP. Shockwave was walking around like he had more HP than Eternamax Eternatus and getting 3Ks. Gala hit the most business casual Lucio triple kill the world has ever seen. I don't even know if this was business. It was a one-way deal. There was no negotiation. Yo, hold on. This might have been a robbery. And for the single round that was close, Quick did not touch the point. Let this serve as a reminder that not even our hero Crocs is immune to C9ing. Bro had an opportunity to go to point and he said, nah, I'm good. I'm gonna go straight up instead. All I know is he got his. For Gogo though, I got no clue, bruh. This is like driving past the largest ball of twine in Minnesota and not taking a look. But that doesn't mean this match wasn't worth watching. Crocs hit this disgusting magnet pin into mid-air fire strike combo, and Keo made things interesting by going for flanks that give Metro a run for his money. This kid is low-key one of the best aimers in the region, so quick matches are never too bad to watch. It's like even when you go on a bad McDonald's run and accidentally order the extra wide Big Mac that is just much too large and the proportions are all wrong, at the end of the day, it's still a McDonald's run, so it can't be the worst thing ever. But now we get into real gaming with GG PEPS vs ENCE in the upper bracket, and FD God made sure to set the tone by launching himself into ENCE frame 1. At this point in the metagame, bro is so used to Pharah concussion punting him across the map that his nervous system automatically did it for him. But even in the face of instantaneous trolling from his own, Exodial is still out here killing too. The first two maps were quite tough for PEPS, even with EXO being able to find picks on Masa before his meds kicked in. Crimzo has got to set an alarm on his phone to make sure Gramps takes his vitamins, because in some of these clips it looks like he has zero spatial awareness and is concentrated on practicing Lucio surf rollouts. To be fair, it's working though. Look at how quick he's moving right here. ENCE were always able to win these type of alt-thumb fights that make Joe Biden's speeches sound comprehensible by comparison. If they don't fix this in the mid-season patch, all the players are gonna die of brain malnourishment before EWC. And on Midtown, PEPS got rolled harder than when all of Energy Shock load into a ranked game on the same team. ENCE really just walked through the subway car and Tread spontaneously combusted, letting Kev walk around on Echo and clean up for the easy 2-0. On Esperanza, it starts to look cooked, and Kai hits the new raw collateral rail shot and schmixes PEPS completely. But then PEPS dig deep and remember that they are the current delusional champions of EMEA, so they spin back with the quickness led by none other than GOAT Zodial. If you thought he was the most glazed Western player at the moment, you're dead wrong, because if you take a look at your local store, you will find that I personally now own a monopoly on all honey. Do you know how insane you need to be to formally start the reverse sweep with this nasty 4K and then plug walk outside the enemy spawn? PEPS went on to cleanly win Saravasa, and now they were just one map away from completing the reverse sweep and going to grand finals. At this point, Masa had doubts that ENCE could get it done, and in an attempt to get let off easy on Exodial's reign of terror, he offered a 2K on his own people. If I'm staring down someone who can make my entire team vanish faster than org support once EWC passes, I'd also do everything in my power to get on his good side. PEPS ended up holding ENCE pretty close into third point, and you could almost taste the reverse sweep, even with Exodial having 1.8 billion metric tons of honey being poured all over him. But even with all the momentum in PEPS' favor, there was still life in ENCE, and one person, Kevin, in the lobby. I don't care if it's 12 years down the line and Kevster just got home from his 9 to 5 working the textile section at IKEA. If he is in the game, there is a non-zero chance his team could win. Usually, Kevster keeps his emotions in check, but watching him hunt down Naga like he was shot out of a Titanfall Smart Pistol MK6, it was easy to see he was pissed. But this is only a small piece of the complete functional breakdown of PEPS in this fight, so lock in and peep disaster. PEPS have been understandably struggling a bit playing the Maga comp into dive on first, but now they have ults, and Tread decides to bring the fight to Kai on the high ground. Unfortunately, despite popular belief, Tread does not have him right where he wants him, and he cages absolutely nobody, so he closes shop early and drops the point. But hold on, for a brief moment there was an enemy inside the cage, but Masa didn't let his loyalty slip for a second time and came out of the cage doing just fine. Unfortunately for PEPS, they aren't the killers. It seems as though the only person who can keep Exodial chained up is himself. I think the Maga brain rot deteriorated his prefrontal cortex because all he knows is Maga alt equal tiny Overwatch to the death. When he finally snapped out of it and pushed Kai, it was too late. Naga was dead in a ditch, Tread was an Olympic swimming pool away on point, and I ran out of honey to pour on the goat. With that, the reverse sweep dream was over, and SSG were patiently waiting to beat them down in the lower bracket. Because PEPS were huge fans of yapping in their upper bracket 3-0 showing, SSG decided to lock in and literally kill them. I have seen closer competitions between LeBron and a literal 6-year-old, and I mean that with 100%, with 1,000,000%. PEPS didn't even get a point. They lasted 45 seconds on their map 2 defense, they got full capped on Colosseum, and SSG didn't even buy him dinner first. If little Timmy loaded up Overwatch for the first time and locked Reaper because he thought he looked cool on Watch Punch Gibraltar, he'd still end up with a better scoreline than anyone on PEPS. Even in a fight where Tread killed 2 with Flux and PEPS had a 4v2 advantage, they still couldn't even get a tick. The only way PEPS were getting this dub without directly depositing funds into the Space Station bank account was if an all expenses paid ticket to Cancun happened to end up in SSG mailboxes. This was the type of game that was so bad it makes you hop off the main account and start queuing on your alt. They gotta drop the PEPS all together on the branding and just go GG next tournament, bro. Even with the earlier triumphant upset between choking the reverse sweep versus ENCE and getting tossed harder than the Smash Bros sandbag in the home run contest, it's cooked. I don't think you fully understand how bad this was, because not only did GG have no hands in game, but they were putting up 2018 Shanghai Dragons numbers in the mental matchup. The whole time this massacre was going on, SSG were chirping harder than that fucking bird that I hate from Mario Maker. Meanwhile, the Gaming Gladiators were just sitting there taking this full force, quieter than Sugar Free when a girl's in the stack. When GG did make contact, it was a poor attempt to smile through the pain, but all it did was let us know that they were reading every word and had nothing to say. Now that SSG finished their for fun warm-up, it was time for the 51st monthly ENCE vs SSG match, this time with a whopping monstrous $3,000 prize difference. Starting off with something so dastardly that while I was chilling doing a replay code stream, Funny Astro pulled up to make sure the people saw exactly what Psycho got away with on live broadcast, and he was real slick with it too. I didn't even see what he was cooking until I checked the math. In 8 minutes on Samoa, he off-lead Schmix-O goobed Kevster in the Echo duel. This match might have been broadcasted on Twitch, but it was meant for somewhere far more sinister. I just don't know what Kevster did to deserve this level of pure hatred. Every single fight, Psycho was looking for him like he's the final missing Korok. It's like Psycho got a bonus worked into his contract that for every kill on Kevster, he gets an extra $5, and in this one map alone, he might have doubled his monthly income. Anytime Psycho uses Google Maps, no matter where he's going, there is an added pit stop to Kevster's location. It doesn't matter how far of a detour it is. But Psycho wasn't the only player with some tunnel vision. Unfortunately, Masa just couldn't replicate the magic. He did, however, jump scare Hottie into using Cage, so it could have been worse. Overall, this game was about what you'd expect from the top teams half-assing it because the stakes were lower than a slice of life mission to the grocery store. Honestly, an anime guy making it to the 7-Eleven before they sell out of half-off eggs is a bigger deal than the outcome of this match. SSG basically dominated the more brawly maps, and ENCE had pretty convincing wins on the dive maps. But even with an effort level matching Commander X trying to lock into low Bob NA teams, this was still a higher match quality than anything NA had to offer. Like, I swear, Sparker just shot these same air particles 5 times here and ended up with 3 kills, and yet it's still peak. This 4K is so casual, I wouldn't be surprised if he was all the way leaned back, big chilling in his chair. Then you got Funny Astro catching Kevster off guard while he was checking the structural integrity of the staircase ceiling. At least that's the best reason I can think of for him to be in a small room 2 steps away from the enemy Maga. Kev risked his life to make sure the building was stable table, only for Funny Astro to repay him by hitting a clip on his team. What the fuck, man? He was your guy. Backbone's here on Sim, pulling clutch kills out of a hat like he's a Hanzo with a mercy pocket, except the arrows are 4 times slower and do half the damage. And I don't know why it always seems to be Masa when it comes to shit like this, but if his Overwatch career ever ends, he should look into European baseball or NHL goaltending, because catching both of these Sim orbs 3% off beat on the final fight of the map is a talent. Other than this and the tunnel vision incident, Masa was locked in and made big, meaningful plays on the 2 maps and did win. Plus, the double Sim orbs of Doom was pretty unlucky. At least, that's what I believed, until I watched Kevster stick Hottie's bubble, only for it to break, drop onto Hottie in Primal, and then blow up on top of Kevster in the span of a second. And yet, there was still another first-time world event in this series, when Hottie dragged Kai across the point and threw him off a cliff I didn't even know existed. I can guarantee you that nobody has ever been down there before. That is uncharted territory. And with that, those are my best and worst plays of the second half of the EMEA Esport World Cup Face It playoffs. Have yourself a good one. Deuces.